What's good, YouTube? Sandman here, and I finally got it for you guys, the actual Scuf and Razor RAIJU, my review comparison between the two, if you want to call it that. I don't even think they compare, but I've seen the reviews for these, and I wanted to give you guys a straight up, like, this is what the deal is with these two controllers, because these seem to be the two, like, main go-to controllers for the PS4. Licensed by PlayStation, not licensed by PlayStation. This is important. So what I did, because I could go through and do every little thing on each controller, that'll take forever, I wrote a list, right? I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah. I have horrible handwriting, but I wrote a list of all the issues I've had with the Scuff, because I couldn't really do that with the Razer. I don't have any issues. And so I thought I would do all the issues I had with the Scuff, and then explain how the Razer just easily fixes all of these problems. So we're just going to start at the top. Number one, and I can't press any buttons. I've tried to make this review like 4 times already, and this thing is just pressing buttons on its own, and it like kills the middle of my video and all this kind of stuff, so I'm going to be very careful with it. But number one is Happy Meal plastic. The Scuff, this is the brand new Scuf Impact, just came out about a year ago or so. I've had this one for about 6 months, 7 months, something like that. I only used it for about 4 months before I bought the Razer, and I haven't touched it since. It's literally just sat in its own little box. Before I forget, I want to say the reason that, like, with the Razer, you see the Razor RAIJU and the box it came in. That's it. That's it. There is none of this you see here with the Scuff. You've got all your different little gadgets and sticks and all this stuff you need, extra stuff, and all your little paddles and your magnets. You gotta, oh, I'm sorry, I'm holding it up too high. All your magnets and all this shit you gotta keep track of, your extra paddles, which you will need. No, it's just ridiculous, right? The Impact does everything that all of this stuff does better and more, like, sensitive, more responsive without any of the crap. You don't need any of this stuff with the Razer. The Razer does it all on its own. And I'll explain in a minute. So, back to the main points, because I want to go down the list so I don't miss anything. Number one, Happy Meal plastic. That's what I call it. Literally, it's Happy Meal plastic. This thing is made out of, like, I can bend it with, like, 2 fingers. It's not made well. You can tell it's multiple different kinds of controller being put together and all this kind of stuff. It's just really bad. Really, really bad. The Impact, on the other hand, licensed by PlayStation, is made out of, this is an original PlayStation controller, it's made out of the same stuff. It's like the exact same plastic. It's that hard, last forever type plastic. You know, the one thing you never have go bad on a PlayStation controller is these don't wear out. Like, the handles don't wear out and stuff. And that's because it's really good, sturdy plastic. So, the Scuff doesn't have that. The Scuff is made out of junk. It's made out of garbage. It's just really crappy plastic. Really crappy plastic. Let's see, what's next? Sides cut hands. Okay. So when I bought the Scuff, this is a $283 Scuff, right? I had the rumble, it's fully customized. I had the rumble packs removed, all this good stuff. When they put it back together, Scuff is making their stuff so good that they squeezed it back together so tightly, and it's not pieces that actually match, because they just take a bunch of different random parts and stick them together, that they literally flangeed on the side, both sides. And so when I play, it will literally, like, cut my hands. It cuts the sides of my hands, cuts into them. Because your hand, you know, it fits right there or whatever, and there's this sharp little edge right here. It's really bad. And that's not, like, something you would get on every single one of them, but I just thought that just shows you right there, like, that's how, this is not a pro controller at all. Hair triggers. Scuff advertises that they have they do not have hair triggers. They have trigger stops, and they have a little screw that you can tighten it down to try to make them hit faster. All that is a different type of trigger stop. It's not hair triggers. Hair triggers have to be built into the controller because it's an actual, like, sensor. So you hit the button and it sends a message, right? That's how controllers work. The Razer actually has built-in hair triggers on the back. Now, of course, it has the trigger stops, and we were talking about those, so I'll show you on the Razer. It doesn't have, the Scuff trigger stops are these little round things that you just screw, right? You turn them out. They will literally rotate on you in the middle of gameplay. It's fucking horrible. The Razer, I hope I didn't call that the Razer, that's the Scuff. The Razer has these little buttons, right? And they're just little clicks. So like you click it this way, click it that way, whatever. And it turns on or off your hair triggers. Or not your hair triggers, but your trigger guards, right? So you can shallow up the triggers or whatever. It also, and this is where I say that the Scuff does not have hair triggers. If you hold down, I'm not going to tell you what the combinations are, but you can hold down a combination of buttons. It's really simple. Actually, for hair triggers, you would hold down this, hold down, say I want to make that a hair trigger. I would hold it down, hit X, boom, it's a hair trigger. I'll get a vibration. I now have a hair trigger, and you can tell the difference. It's insane. So no hair triggers, but they advertise it. Real hair triggers, without question, they're really good, and they're very easy to turn on, turn off, whatever you want to do. Let's see. So no hair triggers, R1 and R2. I'm not even going to go on about this. It's very simple. R1 and R2 stopped being responsive. Like, they only respond, I'd say, probably 80% of the time now. It's just more of the Scuff just kind of falling apart. It's a piece of shit. Cord holder too shallow. Okay. So on the top here of the Scuff, you see we have this little port holder to hold the charging cable. And it's supposed to keep it from sliding. The problem is it's so shallow that literally the cord will just like rip right down and out. It doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all. The Razor RAIJU has the exact same thing, but it's about 3 times deeper and has little grommets that actually hold the cord in place. Now, while this may be a little bit of an issue because you'll have to find, if you lose the cord, you'll have to find one that sticks in there. The cord that comes with it is braided, really good. It's a high quality cord. And the little grommets on the side that hold it are just little slits. So you could just as easily take a razor blade on the side of any cord and make it fit just as well. I've been playing with this for about 5 months now, 4 or 5 months. I have never had the cord fall out. Ever. At all. And I'm a rough player. Happens all the time with the Scuff. So there's that. Paddles fall out. That's pretty I think when you're playing, these aren't screwed in. So what'll happen, they don't actually come all the way out. Say I'm using this, right? And all of a sudden I just do this, right? Sometimes this other paddle will, like, of course I can't do it on purpose, but if I wasn't trying to do it on purpose, it'd pop right out. These paddles were like slide. I keep pulling it out of the camera. They just slide up and down. So they'll literally, you'll be playing and you put too much pressure down here, especially me if I have big hands, which I do, which we're going to get to in a minute. These things just pop right out. They just pop right out. It's not good. It's not good. At the same time, the Razer has hair trigger sensitive mouse click buttons on the back, which look a little funny because they're not paddles. I'm telling you, they fit so perfectly. Because the way your hands sit, they literally just, you sit right down on top of them. And you can press down or in, they connect in multiple different ways, and then your other 2 buttons, extra buttons, are up here on top. And they look like, oh, that's going to be hard to hit. You're hitting the triggers, you're hitting L1, R1, how could you hit these? You can see how easily I just jump right to them. I actually will use these a lot of the time instead of R1 or L1 because they're just so easy to hit right off the triggers. That brings me to another point I don't think I put in there is the customization. Like I said, you need all this stuff to customize the Scuff. You can't even get it close to what this can do without any of that. Every button on the Scuff except for these 2 right here, your options and your video, of course. Every button can be mapped to every button. You can literally just remap this entire controller all while playing. Like literally you hold down this, hold down the button you want to change it to, hit the button you want it to change to, boom, you get a vibration and it does it. It's done. With the Scuff, you're going to need these. Oops. These, the little magnets and shit. It's a pain in the ass, guys. It's a pain in the ass. You have to change it out every time. You want to change anything. It's just, there's no real customization to it. It's just what setup are you running and do you have 30 minutes to change. 10-second customization change, 30 minutes. There you go. Let's see, the sticks. So, this is what I tell people. My main point out of all this, if you're wondering, should I get a Scuff, should I get a Razer? Get both. Somehow get your hands on both. A friend, whatever. And just feel them. When you pick up a Scuff and you rotate the sticks, you're going to notice very quickly, like, oh, so it's like not even as good as like a regular PlayStation controller, which is real smooth. These are actually like bumpy. Like, it's weird. Like, something's not sitting right in there. And it's like that on both sticks. And I would say, it's mediocre, 50-50. You could be as good or bad as a regular PlayStation controller. Then we pick up the Razer. This right here is goddamn ice. That's what it feels like. It feels like I'm sliding on ice. That's how smooth it is. Both sticks. Both sticks. There's a reason they call it a Razer. It's because you literally have Razer precision. It's insane how smooth the sticks are. And that was my biggest thing when I bought a Pro controller. I wanted sticks. I wanted good sticks because I got so sick of like feeling like I should be on target, but yet it just go a little further, or it didn't go the exact same distance every time. The scuff was all over the place. This thing is amazing. It's got the best sticks I've ever seen on a controller, period. And I got my Xbox Elite right here. So, no, I'm telling you, it's better than the Xbox Elite in the sticks. Otherwise, the Xbox Elite, it's just a really good controller, but that's not what we're talking about. So, so here's another point on the Scuff I wanted to make. I've been using, these are the Razer sticks. You can't, here's the only drawback to the Razer, and I gotta be honest, this is the only drawback. Control Freaks don't fit regularly. So what I did, and this was really easy to do, it wasn't like, oh my god, it's so difficult. I don't know if you'll be able to, well, now you won't be able to see, but when you look at a Control Freak, if you look at this inside area, right on the inside of this panel, you'll see these little nubs. Get you a razor blade pocket knife. I have an army combat knife is what I used. Get you something with a razor sharp edge on it, shave that little tip off, they fit right on. They fit right on. They do leave little divots on the sides of the sticks, which you can't even see right now. I do not play without the Control Freaks. Everybody's talking about Control Freaks fucking these controllers up. Not if you shave those divots off. If you, PlayStation 4 Control Freaks, shave the divots off, they fit perfectly. And they don't fuck up the sticks. They don't do that. There's your proof. These are the Control Freaks that are on it. They're the ones I use all the time. And yeah, no problems, guys. No problems. So there's that. Let's see, where are we at in our little list here? Oh yeah, also on the sticks, right? So this is the Scuff sticks. It's the main one I usually use when I played it. Like I said, I only had this controller 4 months. I only used the Scuff sticks maybe 3 or 4 times. Can you see? I don't know if I can get the angle right. If you can see how it's already like worn off the entire side of that. That's from like literally maybe a total of a week's worth of usage. That's how quickly these things, they just wear right down. They just wear right down. Their sticks are horrible. Not to mention, they're tiny. They're tiny. They're so skinny and like little bitty. My thumb just, this is supposed to be the tall, big one, right? The tall, big stick. My thumb, it's huge. Like, the stick's just so tiny. They're little girl sticks is what I call them. They're horrible. They're horrible. Also, when you put a Control Freak on a Scuff, right? So Control Freak on Scuff, right? Let's get it on there. Okay, so it's on there. Oh, y'all can't see. Okay, so we got a Control Freak on there, right? I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but literally the little nubs on the side of the Control Freak dig into the rivets on the side of your stick removal system. And so like literally I've eaten in, you probably can't see it. You can see it a little bit right there. I've actually started eating in, the Control Freak is eating into the plastic of the controller because Control Freaks don't really fit on this. So I called Scuff. I've talked to them about these issues with this type of stuff. According to Scuff, and I quote, you are not Scuff, I'm sorry, excuse me. Yeah, Scuff, okay. According to Scuff, you are not supposed to use Control Freaks on their products. That's what they said. You are not supposed to use Control Freaks on their products. Because I told him, I said, something's got to be wrong here. The Control Freak's eating into the controller, and that's what he said. He said, you do not use Scuff, or you do not use Control Freaks on Scuff products. That's what he said. Anyone bought one of these and not used Control Freaks? What the fuck's wrong with you? So there's that. Sticks are great on here. Sticks are great. They're just great. They're just wonderful. These little custom sticks that they come, they're crap. They're just crap. They just fall right apart. Let's see, where else are we at? Button, stick, and shallow. Oh, yeah. So, these, you can barely even hit. they're tucked down into the controller because the actual controller setup inside of the plastic is not the correct one for this setup. Because like I said, it's two different controller setups. And so they could put two different colors together because they didn't actually make it a custom controller. They just have a bunch of different parts they slap together. And so it's embedded in there. And so it's incredibly hard to hit. Not to mention, I'm already getting my triangle button over here started sticking. I don't even use it. It's on one of the paddles in the back. I don't know why that button would be sticking. Just problems. The Razer, on the other hand, these buttons here, I don't know if you can see them. These your share and your options buttons are actually up out. I don't know if I can get it to where you can see it, but yeah, you can see it a little bit there. They're actually buttons. They're up out of the controller. They're not laid into it, so they're very easy to hit. I will admit I've actually hit the options button a few times by accident, mainly in racing games when I'm just trying to like reach over real quick. Doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened a few times. That just tells you how easy it is to hit instead of having to slam on it like you do with the Scuff. Let's see here. Audio port won't fit. Oh yeah. So on the Scuff, right? Here's another one of those. They thought they were trying to do something good and they screwed it up. The audio port is embedded into the controller, and I don't have an audio port, but if you have one of those audio ports, it's not straight. It's like a hook or whatever, you know. You're gonna have this audio port like sticking way up in the air because it's got to stand up because it can't go in far enough to actually rotate down. And so the audio port is horrible. It's just not good. Just a regular one. Just a regular old audio port. Plugs in fine. Works perfect. Actually has mute and all that stuff in case you're using like iPhone headphones or something. You can actually control all your volume and everything from right down here. Of course, no. None of that shit. None of that shit. Oh, combat grips. I actually wrote combat grips, LOL. There's a reason I wrote that, guys. So the combat grips, right? Let me start with the Razer. So the Razer has an actual like rubber. It's rubber. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard rubber, but it's you don't slide on it at all. Like you have to force yourself to slide on it. The control in this, and this will also tie in with the size. You see the size of these controllers. This thing's huge compared to the Scuff. And there's a reason I bought the Impact, but to stick with the grip. So they call this the combat grip. All it really is, and you can kind of see, it's shiny plastic that you just slide right across with shiny gloss paint splattered on it that you just slide right across. It's not grippy. It's not grippy at all. There's nothing grippy about this. It's just bumpy. That's all it is. This is grippy. It's rubber. So, total failure there again. We already talked, my last thing on there with the ease of access with the magnets. You can go look online and see how easy it is to reprogram a Razer. It's insane. You just, you're done. This, you got to put the magnet on the back, you got to rotate it, and then you got to figure out, okay, I want this right here, and then you got to move the It's fucking ridiculous. I don't even remember how to do it. Like, it's so many little things go into it. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much all the little details. I'm sure there's stuff I left out, but I had to make this video. I've seen so many people, all these guys who are sponsored by Scuff, and I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. All these people sponsored by Scuff saying, oh, it's the best pro controller. No, it is a piece of garbage, guys. It's literally a piece of garbage. Save your money, spend 40 bucks, get yourself one of those Batman battle packs that goes on the back of a regular PlayStation controller, and you will actually have a controller that's better than a Scuff. I'm telling you. It just in overall build quality, you will be better than a Scuff if you just buy a regular PlayStation controller and get a battle pack on it. If you want to spend the money. And let's be honest, when we're talking about spending money here, we're talking about $150 for the Razer, $283 for a fully optimized Scuf Impact. Speaking of, I wanted to mention the size. So as you can see, my hands, this controller's tiny. It's tiny. This is the Scuf Impact, supposed to be for people with bigger hands. It's tiny. I just completely overlap. My fingers are constantly banging together when I'm using the sticks, and it's horrible. It's tiny. The Razer really is big. Look how much separation there is. Look how much separation there is. It's crazy. It's perfect for people with bigger hands. And especially once you put the control freaks on it, you know, you're way up like this. It's just wonderful for people with bigger hands. I'd actually like it a little bit bigger, but it's decent. It's decent. It feels like I'm telling you, this is a Happy Meal toy, man. That's what Scuff is. It's a Happy Meal toy. And I know it sounds like I'm just hating on Scuff and all that, but when you pay $150 for one and $283 for the other, and there's this big a difference, you got a right to be mad. Like, this is a piece of shit. Do not be screwed over by Scuff. Do not listen to these guys on YouTube, like, what's his, K-Chuck or whatever the fuck his name is. These guys who are actually sponsored by Scuff, and they're saying, oh, the Scuff is so great, and you can compare it to the Razer. You cannot compare these two. They are not even the same kind of controller. This is a gimmick. The Scuff is a gimmick controller. The Razer is a pro controller licensed by Sony. And that pretty much says it all. That's the main thing you should look at. If you're saying, hey, I want to spend $100, $200 on a controller, I want a really good one, I want the best that I can get. Don't buy that shit. This is what you need. I am not sponsored by anybody, but I don't like seeing people get screwed over. Especially not so some asshole kid who's 16 years old and sponsored can make a fucking buck. Seriously, if you guys want a controller with extra buttons, a pro-level controller, excellent sticks, mouse quality button pushes, they actually, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like if you click the mouse button, that's what it feels like. They're amazing. At first they're a little weird. It took me about 10 minutes and I got used to them. No question. If you're going on like a comparison, and I just chunked this piece of shit. If you're trying to compare the two, there's just no comparison, guys. That's where I want to leave it. We did our little list. Literally every single thing that's wrong with this piece of shit, this makes up for times 10. Times 10. But, so yeah. So that's going to do it for me, guys. I just kind of wanted to run down. Like I said, hopefully I stuck to the list okay. Hopefully this doesn't come across as too much of an opinion. Yes, I'm very biased now because I feel like I got screwed over by Scuff. But I wrote down the issues we had, and every one of them the Razer fixes without question. So if you're looking for a custom controller that you can change the buttons on, that you can have the back triggers and you can have some extra buttons, and you just want it really, really everything to work perfectly, the Razer's the way to go. The Razer's the way to go, without question. The only difference is, and this is one thing I forgot to mention, the Razer does not have, let me see if I can show you, does not have the this port, the video port thingy or whatever, the video bar or whatever. It's a professional controller. It has to be plugged in. That's the reason for the grommet and all that kind of stuff. It has to be plugged in. You cannot use it wirelessly. If you're going to spend $200 on a controller, why are you using it wirelessly? Why? That completely annihilates the point of a pro controller. You want the quickest response. It needs to be plugged in. So that's about it, guys. I hope this helped somebody. I hope somebody's been going through and being like, how is Scuff comparable with stuff that's not even licensed by PlayStation? It's not. Those people are sponsored. They're lying to you. They are lying to you through their teeth. I'm showing you right here. Like, there's no question. All those issues I just listed on this thing takes care of, no problem. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Like I said, I hope it helped. Please leave a like, leave a sub, or leave a like and sub, however you want to put it. And that's going to do it, guys. Sam Man out.